Hi, everyone. It is October 25, 2020. I came across this information last night, and it's important, so I need to get it out. It's leaked information from a committee member within the Liberal Party of Canada who sits on several committee groups, but the information that they provided was from the Strategic Planning Committee. Trudeau's crazy COVID plan for 2021? Okay, you decide. The decision has already been made. Anybody waffling on what these governments are doing, you think that they are providing you safety, they're protecting your health. At this point, when the tyranny is so obvious, look, those are the people that are standing by, passively allowing, or actively working with these psychopathic tyrants to bring in worldwide tyranny, which we all have to suffer. All of us. Okay, the roadmap. The aim of the PMO, this is from the Prime Minister's office. Lockdown restrictions on a rolling basis. How many of us have been saying, this is not going away? The rolling basis, lock down, lift them. Lock down again, lift those lockdown restrictions, give them a little bit of freedom, lock down again. Rolling basis, starting with major metropolitan areas first and expanding outward. Rush the acquisition of or construction of isolation facilities across every province and territory. Daily new cases of COVID will surge, capacity for testing, also deaths. Everything's they're lying through their teeth with the numbers, but it scares the populace. All they have to do is maybe just let go of their fear for, a half hour, do some research to find out that mainstream media is a propaganda arm of governments around the world, and they are lying. And cases means nothing. I've said it so often. Complete and total secondary lockdown, much stricter than the first and second rolling phase restrictions expected by end of December 2020. Early January 2021, reform and expansion of the unemployment program into the universal basic income. Oh, everything's coming fast and furiously. That expected by the first quarter of 2021. Projected COVID-19 mutation and or co-infection with secondary virus, leading to a third wave with much higher mortality rate and higher rate of infection. February 2021. Daily new cases of COVID-21 hospitalizations. COVID-21, I guess that's the mutated COVID-19. Related deaths exceed medical care facilities, their capacity. The first and second quarter of 2021. Enhanced lockdown restrictions, referred to as the third lockdown, will be implemented. Full travel restrictions will be imposed, including inter-province and inter-city. Do I hear Melbourne, Victoria, Australia coming to Canada? Projected supply chain breaks, inventory shortages, large economic instability, second quarter 2021. Transitioning of individuals into the Universal Basic Income Program, the second quarter 2021. Deployment of military personnel into major metropolitan areas as well as all major roadways to establish travel checkpoints. Restrict travel and movement, provide logistical support. That's for your third quarter 2021. This is what the committee member is writing. The Strategic Planning Committee was asked to design an effective way of transitioning Canadians to meet a unprecedented economic endeavor, one that would change the face of Canada and forever alter the lives of Canadians. Offer Canadians a total debt relief. Mortgages, loans, student loans, credit cards, all. Known as the World Debt Reset Program. Oh boy, it gets just so, at this point, sometimes it just takes my voice away at how bloody stupid people are, how careless, how dangerous they are for not looking into this. Okay, in exchange for acceptance of this total debt forgiveness, the individual will forfeit ownership of any and all property and assets forever. Oh, it's coming fast and furiously. The individual would also have to agree to partake in the COVID-19 and 21 vaccination schedule, which would provide the individual with unrestricted travel and unrestricted living, even under a full lockdown. Aw, what a good boy. What a good girl. They got vaccinated. Now you can come out. Now you can go shopping. Canada's Health Pass. Yes, passes all over the world will be handed to individuals. As long as they obey their government, you'll get that pass and you can, live a limited life, because life before that pass ain't giving you that freedom. That pass will allow you to travel within your mega region. The world is being restructured into mega regions. We will have a one world government, United Nations. Look at the chaos that's taking place all over the world, and boy, did I look at it just a couple of days ago. Just this past week, riots, protests, whether it's anti-government, anti-corruption, or anti-lockdown protests, almost in every nation. Well, I can't say every nation because there's a lot of nations, but all over the world. UK, Ireland, Spain, Italy, France, Israel, Bulgaria, there's way too many. This is... How do we get through to people? I don't know. The owner of the forfeited property and assets, how do they just turn it over? Committee members were asking questions, and they also asked, so the owner of the forfeited property and assets, and what would happen to them, what will happen to financial institutions, and they were told the World Debt Reset Program will handle all of those details. What will happen to individuals if they refuse to participate? Make sure it never happens. That's what the committee members were told. Make sure it doesn't happen. But if it does happen, they'll be in lockdown restrictions indefinitely. They'll be deemed a public health safety, a public safety risk, and would be relocated into isolation facilities. Once in these facilities, they would be given two options: participate in the debt forgiveness program and be released, or stay indefinitely in that isolation facility and have your assets seized. You will be deemed a serious public health risk. The whole agenda will move forward no matter who agrees with it or not. That it won't just be Canada, but in fact all nations will have similar roadmaps and agendas. Members who are opposed and ones who brought key issues that would arise from such a thing were completely ignored. Our opinions and concerns were ignored. We were simply told to just do it. Just do it. Follow the corporate motto. Just do it. Nike. It's going to place Canadians into a dark future. So I was reading some of the comments, and there's an awful lot of people who just don't get what's happening here. Do not get it, no matter how obvious it becomes, no matter how stupid is the reporting on this COVID-19. Oh, and they know it's going to mutate into COVID-21, I guess. No matter how obvious. They're still not getting it. Well, Canada, Toronto, Vancouver, BC, the protests are getting larger and larger. Larger in Melbourne, larger all over the world. Thousands upon thousands are coming out in their respective countries to protest. And then you have to wonder, these people who think that they're all conspiracy theorists. Really? Really? So we now have millions upon millions upon millions upon millions of conspiracy theorists all over the world. Wow. All right. You don't believe the isolation facilities? You don't believe that? You think that this was just, it's something posted on internet, but it's not true? And yet, in your parliament, it was discussed.
Next question, the member for Lanark Frontenac Kingston.
Thank you, Speaker. My question is to the Premier. In my supplemental question yesterday, I asked this government if the people of Ontario should prepare for internment camps. In September, the federal government posted a call for expressions of interest for contractors to supply, provide, and manage quarantine isolation camps throughout every province and every territory in Canada. These quarantine isolation camps, however, are not limited to people with COVID, but provide a wide latitude for many people to be detained. Surely this government is aware of the intentions to build these isolation camps from coast to coast. And my question to the Premier is, how many of these camps will be built, and how many people does this government expect to detain?
Question. Government House Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It is very true that when people leave the country and when they come back in, that the province is suggesting, and the federal government, in cooperation with the federal government, we are suggesting that people isolate themselves. That has been a practice that has been very successful, not only here in the province of Ontario, but across Canada. And we will, of course, be redoubling our efforts to make sure that the people of the province of Ontario remain safe, Mr. Speaker. So if the member is referring to the fact that that one of the public health policies is that when you return from a jurisdiction outside of the province of Ontario or from another country, that you isolate yourself for 2 weeks, I would suggest that has been a good policy that has been working. In fact, this House has been doing the same thing since we came back. We are working in cohorts to make sure that the Legislative Assembly can continue to operate. That's why we have two separate cohorts, Mr. Speaker.
Response.
And with the cooperation of the official opposition, that is why all members of the Independents have been excluded from that cohort, because we want them to be able to participate in debate. So we will continue to do everything in our power to make sure that this House continues, but that the people of the province of Ontario and Canada are kept safe.
Supplementary question.
Again, back to the Premier. Here's the RFP, and in the RFP it uses clear language to express that these camps can be used for a broad spectrum of people, not limited to travelers. Indeed, it doesn't even mention international travelers. It's just a broad latitude of people. And I'll send over the copy of the RFP after. So your government must be in negotiations and aware of these plans to potentially detain and isolate citizens and residents of our country, in our province. So, Speaker, to the Premier, where will these camps be built? How many people will be detained? And for what reasons?
Questions.
For what reasons can people be kept in these isolation camps? And I'd like to have the Premier assure the people of Ontario.
Member, take a seat.
The mic cut off. That's it. Done. Fabulous communication, isn't it? Yes, so this guy wants to keep you safe. He wants to keep you safe because you don't know how to keep yourself safe. So you need Daddy to keep you safe. And if it means putting you in an isolation facility, well, you'll want to do that, right? Because you want to keep your fellow Canadians safe, right? So here it is, discussed right on the floor of your parliament. So don't tell me that this is just, a conspiracy theory that somebody, that's not quite right, twisted, sick, just put on the internet. They're going to be taking all of your property, and it's coming soon. This dark Canada, your dark future is right around the corner.